OK. In the second half of today, we'll talk about a totally different topic called UI attacks. Stands for user interface. So the general theme here is we're going to somehow trick the user into doing something malicious, even though they think they're doing something different. And all of the attacks we'll see, and this will probably make more sense once we see some examples, they're going to take advantage of user interfaces. In other words, we're going to trick the user into seeing one thing, but doing something else. So all of these are not necessarily computer bugs, where the browser itself has a bug in its code, or the server has a bug in its code. Really, all of these are more human bugs, where we as humans think we're doing one thing, but we got tricked into doing something else. So the results of these attacks could be anything. We could cause the user to visit a malicious website. We could trigger an XSS attack or a CSRF attack. This is more about tricking the user in the first place to do something that they weren't intending to do. And all of them are based on human factors. So it's not tricking the computer like we did with the buffer overflow. This is tricking the human that's browsing the websites. So we'll look at two different types of UI attacks and talk about various defenses. So the first one is called clickjacking. And it's kind of like the name implies. You're going to steal one of the user's clicks. So normally, when the user is browsing a website and they click on something, what does the browser think? Well, the browser thinks the user probably actually meant to click this. So if the user clicks on a link, the browser opens the link. If the user clicks on the send button in their email client, then the browser sends the email. If the user clicks on log out, then the browser sends a request for the user to log out. So all of this is to say, when the user clicks on something, we think they actually mean to do it. There's no way for us to know that they didn't mean to do it. And so what an attacker can try to do is to steal one of the user's clicks. Have them click on something, and actually they thought they were doing one thing, but instead the click has been stolen and instead used to do something else malicious. For example, maybe the user has downloaded a malicious program. Maybe they have liked a video that they weren't intending to like. Maybe they ended up accidentally clicking on the delete account button. Those are ways you can steal someone's click. You can also maybe steal people's keystrokes. If the user types a button, you assume that they actually meant to type it. And maybe by stealing the keys that they're typing, you can steal private information from them. So these all have to do with the attacker stealing one of the user's actions for something malicious. So what do I mean by that? Here are some examples. Let's go to this website and download some anti-malware software. So now when I look at this website as a user, I'm already confused. Because here it says start download, and here it says download now, and here it also says start download. But then here there's antivirus download, and there's also download here, and there's download.com. So what am I supposed to do to download the software that I want? What if I click the wrong download button? Maybe some of these are malicious buttons, and when I click on it, I end up downloading malicious software or deleting my account or going to evil.com instead. So by making the website look so confusing, we are trying to steal the user's click. The user clicks here, and oops, that's the wrong download button, and instead they've been taken to evil.com. That's one example of clickjacking, where we steal the user's click for something malicious. And the problem is we've made this website confusing for the user to access. Having said all that, I still don't know which of these is the correct download button. So if you figure out which one it is, let me know. OK. So here's another example of clickjacking. So maybe we go to the berkeley.edu homepage, and we take our mouse cursor here. And I guess we're about to click on this button. And that's going to take us to some website where we can donate to them. And so first of all, when I hover over this page, I can see a little link down here. It tells me I'm about to be taken to crowdfund.berkeley.edu. Now the question is, what happens if I instead go to berkeley.edu and I see this? OK, that's good. And when I click on this, I still see the crowdfund website. But it turns out, if I embed Berkeley's website inside someone else's website. There's an outer website, and Berkeley's website is the inner one. There's actually an argument called opacity that makes the website look more visible or more transparent. So let's start playing with one of these HTML parameters. So what if, instead of making this 1.0, I make it something else? Like, I guess before I do that, here's maybe another attack I could do. So instead of, well, I guess before I do that, sorry. OK, it is 1.0. So now instead of 1.0, let's make it 0.8. OK, well, now that it's 0.8, you can see that the website is starting to become more transparent. It's becoming more invisible. What if I make it 0.1? Well, now it's even more invisible. And also, we added some text below it. And now you can see the text below that says, click here. OK, now what if I set the opacity all the way to 0.0? Now the website is completely invisible. It's still there. I've embedded it. It's in the HTML. If I hover my mouse over, I will go to crowdfund.berkeley.com. But I have made the website totally invisible to the user. And I've instead shown them this other content that's very tempting for them to click. So here, I guess we have a user that if they normally see the Berkeley donate button, they would just close it, like all of us do. And instead, we're now replacing it with some enticing content that they will want to click. But if they click on this, will they actually go to the content that's enticing? No. Instead, they have been tricked into donating to UC Berkeley. So this is something you could do if you want to steal a user's click. You can overlay two websites on top of each other and have one of them be invisible. And when the user clicks on the visible thing, they think they're doing one thing, but they've actually interacted with that invisible website. So the user clicks on the iframe. It still goes to that crowdfund website, and they have been tricked. And their click has been stolen for malicious purposes. So that's one example of using invisible frames. You could overlay the legitimate site on top so that it's what the user is interacting with, and make it invisible. And then in the back layer, put something visible but tempting for them to click, like click here for free money or something like that. So here, the front that they're interacting with is malicious, and the back that they're interacting with is visible and more tempting, but not the thing they're actually interacting with. That's one possible variant. We could also do it in other directions. So for example, here, we have the legitimate website on top, and then maybe underneath, we have some malicious download button. And when they click on the Berkeley homepage, they've instead accidentally clicked on that malicious download button. So by overlaying different websites on top of each other, we can steal the user's click. They think they're clicking one thing, but instead they have been tricked into clicking something unintended. OK, so more malicious clickjacking attacks are possible. Here's a variant where we're actually manipulating the appearance of HTML such that actually we have some boxes that are overlaid over other boxes. So for example, maybe underneath this box, we've written $1,000, but then we put a box on top and we say 15 cents. And the user thinks they're about to send 15 cents, but underneath they're really sending $1,000. So there's all these different tricks you can play in HTML. And if the user visits, say, an attacker's website, the attacker could load some malicious box like this with a bunch of malicious HTML overlaid and cause tricky things like this to happen.